Okay, let's make that wait bot shut up for once. Welcome everyone. Love your love muscle this time again on Monday, our bi-weekly show about living from the heart, doing heart-focused meditation, heart-focused living. My name is Seb, founder of the Transformational Meditation Group, where we teach people how to use meditation, self-regulation techniques to change their lives and the lives of others. Also, people that change their lives and lives of others is our special guest today, Nicole Holland. Nicole is a personal advisor to visionary leaders. Her ultimate mission in life is elevating consciousness and eradicating poverty. And I saw Nicole on Fireside. She has her own Fireside show as well a couple of weeks ago, and where she was talking, I think it was about poverty, about some things were going on in her life, and she talked with so much passion about the things she does for other people that I thought, wow, she has to come on the show and talk a little bit about what she does, what she pours her heart into. Welcome, Nicole. How are you?
I'm great, Deb. Thank you so much for having me with you.
Thank you for coming on the show. Like I said, I saw you a couple of weeks ago and asked you to join me because you were clearly a person that I saw was speaking from their heart, living from their heart, being in the present moment and trying to do good for other people, helping other people. Um, yeah, we talked a little bit briefly before the show about how you were doing and what you are doing. Can you talk a little bit about that shortly?
Sure. I mean, I think I realize now the show that you caught was actually a special show for my friends. I wrote a blog post not too long ago about that I'm ill, that I'm terminally ill, and people had a lot of questions, and so I had a couple of conversations with friends and decided, no, I'm going to just do one group one group call because it's a lot, when you're going through things and you're having some challenges, and everybody wants you to meet them on their schedule as it's easy for them, and it's like, no, 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 I have to prioritize myself. So I so appreciate you being on that show, and what I'm up to these days is just getting through the days. I mean, it's real when you have a health issue and it takes your body functions away. It's a real thing, and at the same time, focusing on the abundance in my life. So today we just opened our closed beta for a new app that we're launching, and so I pour all the energy I can into doing things I love and relax the rest of the time these days.
Yeah, and I saw that app. It is when you go to growthseekerswelcome.com because you are behind that website. I put it in our fortune cookie. You can find more information about Nicole, what she does, her podcast as well, also on Fireside. And I saw a post about that app as well. So please check that out
Mhm.
after the show or during the show if you get bored with us. I hope not. Um, Theme for today is what did I say again? How to see stress and anxiety positively. And my goal with that was basically saying that, well, it's okay to have stress. It's okay to be anxious because those are natural things in our life. Uh, Problems with stress and anxiety is when it becomes chronic, when you have it all the time and it becomes part of your identity almost. Then there's something you might want to change. But normally stress and anxiety is actually a function we have which is positive. If we don't have it, we wouldn't be able to survive in some situations. What are your thoughts about that, Nicole?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love the way you reframe everything. The terms stress and the terms anxiety are sort of low caliber words in the English language, so when people say the words, they feel the words. And when you look at it as an opportunity, okay, so this thing we call stress is a warning sign, anxiety is a warning sign. It's like it's an opportunity to bring more joy and peace into your daily living, right?
Absolutely. And it is a sign to, like you say, from your body, from your visuals, from your nervous system, basically, not really your body, but your nervous system, like, oh, something is going on. Uh, Either I react on it or I go through it,
Or I respond to it.
depending on how you do.
Or I
Yeah.
respond to it, right? With
Mm,
meditation, with
mm,
something that brings more peace, yeah?
yeah. But problem is when it gets in my experience, what I see with a lot of people is that it's becoming stress and anxiety are becoming a no thing. Like it's not good to have.
Mhm.
Right away they're like, oh, I have stress, and not a good thing. And they're becoming
It's just
stressed
a
because they're
word,
stressed.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like the more we talk about or think about whatever it is, it becomes, right? So when we think about stress from that perspective of low vibration, low, like unwanted, or we think about anxiety as a problem, then these things become bigger and bigger and bigger because we focus on them as such, as what we do not want. Whereas if we acknowledge, I'm feeling this way right now, and this feeling is bringing me to a place that I don't want to be in. How would I like to feel instead? It's like maybe just a little more relaxed, maybe just a little more calm, because those words are the opposite of anxiety. I feel anxious. Well, you say the word anxious and you feel more anxious. And then you talk more about anxiety and more about being anxious and you feel more anxious. But if you say, well, I feel anxious right now, but I would rather not feel anxious. What would I like to feel? Whatever you imagine I would like to feel negates the feeling of anxiety or stress or any other negatively connotated words, or feelings.
Yeah, it's a technique I learned from HeartMath Institute as well. Is when the moment you feel stressed or anxious, you can do a heart lock-in technique. It's called. We do it as part of our meditation sessions uh, in our show called Just Meditate, and here sometimes and Love Your Love Muscle as well, where you basically say sit down, you focus on your heart, you breathe through your heart, and create a feeling inside of you of something positive, not anxious, but joy, appreciation, gratitude is a very good one, care, compassion, and to kind of counteract that stress in your nervous system and create an inner experience that is better for you, what kind of calms you down. What also happens when you do that frequently is that that window, your resilience window, you become more tolerable uh, against stress and anxiety as well. Your window increases. You become more resilient. And basically, perfectly what you say. And I also listened to what you said in the start, like, well, I mean, you're in a tough situation right now, so you have stress on your both mentally and physically. And you say, but there's still so much abundance in my life. So in your case, you would sit down and breathe through your heart and remember all the abundance you have in your life, all the things you're still doing and going to do, your plans you have, and you feel grateful for that most likely, and create that inner experience inside of you, which helps you, I think, cope with whatever you're going through much better.
Yeah, I live in appreciation. So I really don't give attention to that which I don't want unless I have to explain it. Um, and the more I stay in a place of gratitude's a good word. I personally feel more resonant with
Hmm.
appreciate and appreciative because in my experience as I've been on my journey, when I lived in gratitude, it felt so good, it feels so good, it feels so good, but I always want more. What feels good, what feels good. And I I found that for me at least, the word appreciating, it's so abundant, it's whereas gratitude is somewhat limited. It's gratitude for something is like you're appreciating a specific thing, whereas appreciation is just more broad. And it's like with value, when an asset appreciates, it gets better, it gets more abundance. And when we appreciate others, or we appreciate the world around us, we appreciate being stuck in traffic opposed to being stressed about it, because we can be stressed and think of all the things that are going to go wrong for us. And or we can just appreciate that we are safe in our car, and that, thank goodness, we weren't involved in any kind of collision or anything that could be holding things up. It's literally, it's just living in appreciation and recognizing how beautiful and majestic everything around us is, and everything as an opportunity. I personally feel more uplifted with that perspective and stance.
I think it's a good one. It's also, you make a good point. When I think about appreciation, it also is more present, more in the moment. You're appreciative of things happening around you right now, or happening to you right
And what
now.
does it
Well, when I
when
think,
you are
well,
appreciated, when you're with somebody and they
hmm,
appreciate you, what do you feel?
yeah,
Love, right?
yeah,
Your heart
hmm,
like just opens, right? When you really know, it's one thing to be grateful and to somebody to say thank you, but when you're with somebody who really sees you, it just, oh, it's like so much bigger, you know?
absolutely, absolutely. I think it keeps you in the moment. Well, it's gratitude is always something, or always something. It's often something you think back about, like, oh, I'm grateful for what happened, or I'm grateful what
Exactly.
is going to happen, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, appreciation keeps you more in the present moment. Yeah,
I totally agree. I
beautiful,
love that.
beautiful. So I didn't say hi to Les and Björk. Welcome. And as I always say, Fireside is participatory, I hope I pronounced it correctly, media. So if you want to join in, if you have a question, raise your hand, type in chat, or ask to come on stage. Maybe you want to share your experience with stress and anxiety, and how do you deal with that in a positive way, or what is your positive view on stress and anxiety. So feel free to jump in, and maybe you want to talk also about appreciation and gratitude, the difference, and what you find best. So feel free
And Seb,
to
maybe
ask a question. Mm.
does your audience ever ask questions about their, like, how they can experience something differently, or ever, if, I mean, I feel like if Bjorn or Les would feel like they want to maybe mention something that's causing them stress or anxiety, that maybe we can also add some value to help them get some relief.
Absolutely, absolutely. Feel free to ask that as well. Um, when we do get questions, it's often about meditation techniques.
Oh yeah.
like last time was, how do I deal with all the noise around me? But that's also a thing, like being in the present moment,
Mhm.
and appreciate the noise around you. And actually, I said that, now I'm thinking about it. Appreciate kids walking around, making a bit of a noise,
Yes, I love
uh,
it.
and be grateful for that. Yeah.
I
Mm.
actually just recommended one of my favorite movies to a friend a couple days ago. It's called August Rush. I don't know if you have it over there, but in North America, it's available, and it's it speaks just to this: a little boy who hears music in everything, And I've found that as I've been spending more time convalescing and being at ease and being at peace and being in quiet and sitting in the garden, I I now enjoy more all of those sounds that perhaps at one time caused me stress, caused me anxiety to hear noises. But now I really, as I guess a sort of meditation in and of itself, is I meditate to the sounds I hear, appreciating them rather than justifying or pushing them away.
Meditating, especially sitting or meditating in nature, is fantastic. Listening to the sounds, birds chirping, wind blowing through the leaves. I live close to a nature reserve with the ocean, so listening to the waves, it's white noise, it's perfect.
That is my favorite. I love being at the beach, the sounds of the beach, all of it. It's so nurturing.
Actually, right now it's not good. Right now it's cold and there is lots of snow. I've never had so much snow here. I saw it
Well,
was
in
totally different
Florida.
on your side of the world. I saw green leaves and sun, and I was like, oh my, it is dark. It is lots of snow. Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped doing winter a few years ago. I appreciate winter and I love it. I just enjoy living in sunny weather.
Yeah. Well, there is something with snow as well. When I go outside early in the morning, for example, for a walk, and there is
Mm.
just fresh, pristine
Oh,
snow. Nobody has walked over it yet. And the
the
only thing you hear
best
is complete
feeling.
silence and your footsteps. That's perfect too.
Yes. That
Again, you can
that
be
was my
appreciated for
favorite
every
part.
situation. Yeah.
Yes, that was my favorite part of winter before I stopped doing winter, was those mornings. The last place I lived in Canada that had the cold winters, um, was right on the lake or about 500 meters from Lake Erie, and it was a destination town. So normally in the summer it was very busy, but in the winter there were very, very few of us that lived there year round, and it was always idyllic and peaceful when it snowed and there were no people on the road and there was you just really that silence you speak of. It's and that the brisk feeling of oh beautiful.
And it gives so much energy too.
Mm.
Um, we have a question. She asked, I work through my emotions, but how do I stop the anxiety of getting past it and just being present with my difficult emotions? Let me see what you tried to mean there, Les. I work through my emotions, but how do I stop the anxiety of getting past it and just being present with my difficult emotions? If you want, Les, you can
I'm happy
talk
to
about
speak to
it.
this as well. If Les
Yeah,
wants to come on, awesome. And if he or she,
uh,
I'm not sure, Les. Oh, there you
there she
are.
is. Les, if you want to unmute, I think you can talk.
Hear me?
Yeah, slow. Yeah, softly.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just sorry. I should have explained myself better, but it was I was just trying to ask that, like, so I have emotions that go up and down, and when my emotions are very down, I get quite impatient with trying to so instead of just being present with the emotions that I have that are quite down, and just taking care of myself, I get impatient with it. So it's almost like I'm trying to, push past through the mud to get to the other side, which
Are you?
invariably is more frustrating, and then
Yeah.
it
Mm.
just ends up in another cycle.
Mm.
It's kind of like it's really hard to train your mind to just stop.
Do you are you thinking about? Do you have a difficult time accepting it, and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
more want to just go past it and think,
yeah.
get it over it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mm.
that's half my trouble. Just very much like would rather just stick it on the side somewhere and then just go and find something else to
Would you
do that's
like
more
some
positive.
relief from that, Les?
Yeah, because it's
Seb, do you
quite.
mind if I share some thoughts?
Go ahead.
Awesome. So Les, can you think about just maybe if you want to close your eyes and just if you can share one example of when this happens. You don't have to give the details, but just bring yourself kind of to that place where it starts taking you down a downward spiral, if you will, where you want to push through it and you struggle with the patience.
Mm. So think of a time that caused that to happen,
Yeah,
sorry?
I mean, sometimes for people, it's like certain things trigger
Mm.
them, certain routines or certain things people might say, a partner, a child, a friend, that send them back to those feelings of worry or anxiety or stress. Does that resonate?
Yes, that does. Yeah.
So do you
Yeah.
know the feeling that you've been discussing? Like, can you imagine a time where that happens? You can imagine that feeling?
Yeah. Yeah. Normally with an expectation, or when I've looked forward to something, or when I'm in a particularly happy moment and I'm trying to just be present
Hmm.
with just enjoying being happy, and then I don't know, um it's like mini little triggers that come up, and they just start adding up, and then
Do you recognize them when they happen, or do you only recognize them after they've added up?
only after they've added up.
That's great. So that's a really good awareness, right?
Is
And
it?
so, absolutely, because awareness is the key, right? When we are aware of how we feel, then we can assess it. And when we assess, is this wanted or is this unwanted? Wanted, then we can just relax in that and enjoy, right? But if it's unwanted, then that awareness allows us to do something about it before things become out of control. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you start becoming aware that you're feeling this unwanted experience, have you ever considered just taking a nice deep breath in and out and just kind of releasing your hands and kind of wiggling your body around and even just allowing yourself to start feeling your feet? That might sound funny, but just bringing your attention down to your feet and just focusing on the sensations while you breathe and then up the body and of course the heart. But have you ever done something like that where you just put your attention and you relax your breath until you feel tingles?
Yeah. I have tried that.
Do you
Yeah.
enjoy it or is that something that you don't enjoy?
I do enjoy that, but then it's kind of quite fleeting for me.
And that's the gift, right? That presence of knowing I'm enjoying it, but it's about to leave. Then you just do the exact same thing again. You take that breath and maybe wonder, what would I like to feel right now? Oh, maybe I will focus on my hips, right? Or maybe I'll focus on my hair. But you can always find something. And the thing is, I think that most people really do try and push through and feel like, oh, it's not working, or it only worked and now it doesn't work. And I think it's because as a society we've become so conditioned to fast, 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 right? Instantaneous knowledge, instantaneous everything. And I think that
Mm.
if you think back to just before things became so fast, you might remember it was a little bit easier to relax, wasn't it?
Yeah, like if I remember back in the day of being a child, I try and remember,
Mm.
like, when I was a child, and how, because I was quite melancholic as a child as well. It's not
Mhm.
anything new to me. I've been like that since I was a
You mean you've been passionate, you've been feeling, you are you are a being full of love and you have strong emotions. Is that what you mean?
Uh, yeah, it was always as a child, would have much preferred to have been like my brother and just, you know, been ignorant to a lot of things around me, especially grown-ups. But it was okay to see a lot of things as a child and sense a lot of things and
Mm.
everything like that and be
And
sensitive.
how
But
did you decompress then when you were a child and you knew how to take care of yourself?
um, yeah, that's what I try and think about. I used to just take myself off into my own world quite a lot of the
Mm.
time, or I guess because I was a child back then, it was easier because
Mm.
you could hide.
Mm.
Children can hide so much better than adults can. They don't have someone always looking for them. Well, I didn't anyway. So
Mhm.
it was easy for me to go and hide.
What if
And
you just what if you just would pretend, right? When we take those moments of pause and we just allow ourselves, like you said, to be in your mind, right? We don't have to hide. If we just I like to close my eyes, obviously not if I'm driving, but, find an appropriate time. And even sometimes, I don't know if you've ever tried this, but I love the weighted blankets when I really wanna just relax and I wanna feel nurtured and calm. I can
I
just
have one. I'm
do
under.
you?
I'm currently underneath my weighted blanket now.
Oh, and doesn't it just feel when you focus on the blanket, doesn't it feel like you're just being held and just
Yes.
gently
Yeah.
soothed? And
Yeah.
that really is all we want, isn't it? We just wanna just feel taken care of.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing is with this blanket that I have, I used to be able to reset myself a lot. I used to be able to be like, okay, I'm having a funny one today. I'm going to go to bed,
Mm.
reset myself, have a long sleep, get up the next day, and I'll be fine. But my resetting myself has stopped. So it's almost
Well,
like I have to
let's be
find
honest
something
here.
else.
Let's be honest and put it in the right context. My what did you just call it? Resetting yourself. My resetting
Hmm.
myself has been more difficult than it used to be. Is that
Yeah,
more accurate?
I would say so, yes.
Yeah. So that's a big thing too. A lot of times we get ahead of ourselves where it's like we feel something and then we carry that story forward, but it's only true in the present. And I think that putting like language is just so powerful. And by putting our thoughts into check, by checking in and saying, is this true right now? Or how can I make that a little more true? Like I have been feeling poorly, but right now I'm feeling great, right? When we think about, well, we got to a point and then everything leveled off, that's actually natural. If you work out your muscles other than the love muscle, you work out your biceps in the gym, you get to a point where it plateaus. And so you have to do a different exercise. And so I think I think you've probably learned a lot of ways throughout your life, and you
Hmm.
continue to by showing up here with Seb. It's like
Yeah,
you're a growth seeker, right? So you're always
yes.
learning new tools.
Hmm.
Just remind yourself you've got a lot of tools in your bag, and you don't have to focus on one of them at any time, right?
Hmm. Okay, yeah.
Seb's got
Beautiful. And
something.
yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. And as what Nicole is saying as well with those exercises of tools, what you're actually doing is you're increasing your tolerance window, so you become more resilient. So next time if you practice this, like even if you think like it's not working, it's not going fast enough, you're doing something. It's like training those muscles.
Hmm.
So you're
Yeah.
doing something, nevertheless, you're training yourself and you are increasing that resilience. When I have people coming over to my course and workshop and I use the heart rate variability monitor to measure your heart rate variation, you see that people that have done this a lot of times with going through the heart, breathing through the heart, and you can breathe not only through your heart, you can breathe through your feet if you want to, or your belly, or whatever, what feels comfortable for you. They increase the tolerance window. They have so much control over the nervous system, and they're getting so good at self-regulating and also snapping up those triggers like, oh, now I'm going to feel down because this is happening. And they can't stop that. They have a pause before that, before they go and feel and become in a negative state of being. They have a little pause in front of that, and they start to switch over automatically to, no, I don't want to go and feel that way. I'm finding something I appreciate and focus on that instead.
And it
Well,
really is so much easier the more you practice it. Even if you
yeah,
only get 2 minutes before you get frustrated, you take that pause in frustration, take a breath, and you're done for the day. Or you
yeah.
can try another, right? You can breathe through another thing. But I think that's the key there, is that pause that Seb mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you practice it, the easier it becomes, and it then becomes your magic. You can just switch on, switch out, you can always raise your vibration no matter what.
Okay. Thank you both.
We can let's just to sum things up. We can do a short guided meditation, like you are thinking less about going back to your childhood, but you can also think, okay, let's go and now you're already under that blanket. That becomes even more real. So I think everybody on the show can just find a good position, close their eyes for a moment, and just take a good deep inhale and exhale through your mouth, and just settle down. For a moment, notice where you feel your breath the most. Focus on that point, on that spot where you feel your breath the most. And then make your breath go a little slower and deeper. And on your next out breath, just settle down even more, just snuggle under that blanket around you. And for those that don't have a blanket around them, just imagine that you have a little blanket around you. It's like it's hugging you and keeping you safe and warm. And just enjoy that moment as you breathe calm, slow, deep breaths. And notice how that feels for you. And maybe you can even imagine giving yourself a hug, a warm, loving hug. Appreciate yourself. And know that it's okay to feel anxious, feel down sometimes. It's all part of our lives. And realize that you can always go for a little while to a moment where you feel better. By breathing, and for a moment go to a place of appreciation, gratitude, care, compassion. And then you slowly can get back. Just notice the room you are in. Notice any sounds in the room. Breathe normally. Wiggle with your fingers and toes. Move your body slightly. And when you are ready, open your eyes. So how did it go for you? The whole audience is asleep now.
That went well. Sorry, I
Yeah.
couldn't find my unmute button.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Yeah. But that's just a little, and you can personalize it. You can try different things. You can just breathe and be in the present moment, appreciate the things you notice around you. Try different things, different techniques. Like Nicole said in the start, you can even just focus on things in your body, do a little body scan, focusing on your feet. That is a sort of grounding at the same time. No
And another
problem.
thing is, Les, when you're feeling like you're safe and content under your blanket, you can bring that thought up too. And I say thought, but it really is feeling, right? You can, if you almost trick your mind. It's like you just take a moment to sit down, close your eyes, take that breath. And if you don't have the capacity at the time to do a full meditation, you can also just do the breathing and remember what it felt like to you when you were curled up in bed with your weighted blanket, or any other time that you have felt joy or you felt at peace,
Yeah. Thank you.
I had it today in a meeting. I got frustrated because people asking me the same questions over and over again in every meeting. And I was like, ah. And I was like, okay. And I was, for a moment, I was just laying on the couch and let it just go by. It felt good.
Yeah. For me, I have to go outside.
Yeah, you do
And
with going outside. Yeah.
yeah, and I just sit there and just what did I do today? Stare at a tree and
Yeah.
kind of imagined that I kind of wanted to be a tree. It would be cool to be a tree.
What if you didn't have to be a tree and you just got to tap into what it feels like to be a tree? Because the
Yeah.
idea, I want to be I wish I were a tree. I want to be a tree. I wonder about being a tree. This actually induces more stress, more anxiety, because you can't, you're human. But if
Mm.
you just allow yourself to be tickled and giddy about, just like a child, I wonder what it feels like to be a tree. And then you allow it, that curiosity allows your mind to release it's like not holding on tightly to those things that felt
Mm.
bad. And it's
Mm-hmm.
going, because you want to, you sometimes think, I wish I could be a tree. And maybe it's because, it's just easy for a tree, but that's not true.
No.
It is easy for a tree, but if you just allow yourself to go, I wonder what it feels like to be so easy like a tree. I wonder what it feels like to grow from the ground, or whatever it is
Mm.
you're curious about. And when you were a little girl, you would do these things, right? You would
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
And
true. And it's losing that curiosity as you get
yes.
older that you forget how to do that.
And now that you've been reminded, you haven't lost it at all, right? And that's the greatest gift I think we can give each other, is to
Yeah.
remind ourselves that we already figured this out a long time ago. And it doesn't have to be difficult, and it doesn't have to be one way that somebody says or another way this other person says, but we can remember how easy it was to be at peace and in joy, even though over the years other people told us we're not supposed to be there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Plus also the other thing is I did find that wishing I could be a tree actually depressed me in the end, because I thought, actually, if I was a tree, I'd probably get bored.
Oh,
Yeah.
and you can't be a tree because you're human, right?
I know.
But if you think about how slowly a tree grows, I mean, yeah, you'd probably get bored. I mean, those things can last for hundreds of years. And they
Yeah.
move so slowly, but
Yeah.
everything is given, right? All they need, it's very simple: water, sun, soil, and they grow. And it's ease. And so play with that. See what happens if you let
Hmm.
yourself be a little like whimsical, a little more whimsical, and see if that changes how you're feeling.
Thank you. Yeah, I will do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And good luck also with. I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, don't be. Thank you. I appreciate it, but I I appreciate your appreciation, and um, things are always moving in the right direction. I know that.
Yeah, this is true.
Isn't it awesome? Also, I was thinking that being a tree is kind of, you can't run away when a duck comes along and lifts its paw.
You
So
have to
maybe,
accept it and enjoy it, right?
yeah.
Enjoy the warm feeling of pee
Oh,
over your
oh
bark.
no, oh no. So there you go. I mean, we can overanalyze and get it into a funny, joyful experience as well.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Exactly.
What a great
Thank you
show.
both.
Thank you, Les. Thank you for coming on stage and talking with us. And thank you for initiating this little short self-regulation,
Cool.
small meditation kind of thing.
No
Awesome.
worries.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let's wrap things up. Nicole, thank you for joining in. What a wonderful session. And
you.
for everybody watching live now or on the recording, go to Nicole's website, read her blog, and follow her podcast. She's also on Fireside. The website is shown in the fortune cookie here, growthseekerswelcome.com. And Nicole, good luck.
Thank you.
And
I
I
appreciate the
hope
opportunity, and yeah.
welcome back anytime. If you happen to be online and want to jump in, feel free. And you're always
Likewise.
welcome. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining in. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Be safe and namaste. Take care.